Do the Detroit Lions have the number 2 cornerback on their roster? Emmanuel Mosley is going to be out for quite some time. That is what Dan Campbell had to say. It'll be, quote, a while. When asked if Mosley could be ready by week 1, Campbell was non-committal. I don't know. We'll see. He's doing good. He's doing good. I'm going to say he won't be ready by week 1. And my question to you is the number 2 starting cornerback on our roster right now? I tend to think no. Is Dan or Brad going to trade for anyone? I don't think so. I believe that somebody from somewhere will be cut, and this guy will be a number 2B, like in between being the number 2 cornerback, not as good as a number 1, but not as bad, or I wouldn't say bad, but not necessarily second string. Right now, our second cornerback, starting cornerback, is Jerry Jacobs. And I'm a huge Jerry Jacobs fan. I think that for everything he is, undrafted, doubted against, always have to prove himself, I love it. Do I think he's starting cornerback material? I do not. That's just my opinion, and I want to hear yours. So if the Detroit Lions, if Emmanuel Mosley's not going to be back, is the number 2 cornerback on the roster right now? Eduardo says, who can we target? That's a good question. I don't think. So Braylon says either Starling or Jerry. You know the crazy thing about Starling and Jerry is they were both undrafted. So for both of those guys to potentially be the number 2 cornerback, that is a huge testament to their ability. And sometimes diamonds do slip through the draft process. I could see Starling. He would have to play very well to outplay Jerry Jacobs because Jerry Jacobs didn't play on Friday, if I remember correctly. So he's the starting cornerback until Emmanuel Mosley comes back at least. I think that's one of the reasons we got Emmanuel, because we knew he was going to be hurt. Jerry is good enough to be that next man up, but just a consistent starter. I mean, if he proves me wrong, fantastic. I just don't think. I look at Cam Sutton and I look at Jerry Jacobs, and I see quite a huge drop-off with the number 1 and the number 2 corner. Okay, Shake and Bake says the Lions have over $18 million to address the cornerback issue if they need to. Hunt, you says Jerry Jacobs was arguably better than Okudah. That's facts, but Okudah is the worst. At the end of the Lions season, and keep called Okudah QB1. Okay, all right. Yes, but that just tells you, in my opinion, how bad our secondary was last year. If Okudah was 1 and Omani was benched, that just tells you how bad our cornerback room was. Jacobs can hold down the fort until Mosley comes back. Okay, start Jerry, backup is Starling. Dern, I don't remember. You got to remind me, man. I will be 44 this year. But my opinion, who's out there? I'm not saying like a free agent, stuff like that. I know we just brought Tay Hayes, but he's probably a camp body. I just am not comfortable with Jerry Jacobs being number 2. I'm not. He's better than Amani, but a number 2, I'm a bit concerned about that. So my personal opinion is that Jerry Jacobs is like a solid 4, a solid 3. He's solid second string. The number 2 cornerback needs a breather. Jerry comes in and he does his thing. That I'm just not comfortable. But if Jerry Jacobs is the number 2 cornerback, then that means that we're riding with Jerry Jacobs until Emmanuel gets back. So that's just my thoughts. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think the number 2 cornerback, like starting cornerback? So we got Cam Sutton is number 1. And now Jerry Jacobs is number 2. Do you think Jerry Jacobs will start the season as the number 2 cornerback? I myself believe that it is someone out there who is on another team right now that will either be cut. And again, I don't think a trade is coming here. Not for a cornerback, because Brad went and addressed that in the offseason. At the same time, Mosley was supposed to be 2. But he might take a little while. So he could be under a Jamison Williams situation or Hendon Hooker, right? He could start the season on the injured reserve and won't come back to 7. We don't know yet. So my thoughts are the number 2's not on the team right now, but I would love to hear yours in the comments below. I will catch you in the next video.